All right, guys, we're back at the homestead property, our 45 acres out in East Texas, and not doing a whole lot today. Really just picking up the trailer. Going to be getting some framing and insulation foam board, 3/4 inch foam board. So, but we did get the window in. Well, I got the window in. It was a pain, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to do an update that day. But it is all welded in. I was kind of playing around, practicing with my welds, some long ones, and kind of stitching it in a couple of places. So, but it's not going anywhere, and I've got it foamed in. And the corrugations, and mainly that was to just give a backing for caulking on the outside. Same thing, foamed in all on the top. Now keep in mind the container will be spray foamed, 2-inch closed cell spray foam. So any of this you see these voids up in here, they'll get filled in whenever they come and do the full thing. Like I said, that was just to seal up the gaps on the outside of the window. I have to say it's not the prettiest. I did get some of the caulking on the window seal and stuff. I think I could get some acetone or paint thinner and clean up some of these marks, but as far as the install itself, the window operates perfectly. So no resistance, nothing, no hang-ups. It's ever yet so slightly cockeyed, but a little bit of caulking will take care of that. I mean, it's literally, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch or less there. And then of course it's touching there, and then maybe 1/8 of an inch, maybe a tad over 1/8, and probably a 32nd or less there. So as far as the frame on the outside, it meets almost exactly. And I do have I believe it was a polyurethane caulking, if I remember correctly, that I went through all of this with. So yeah, the window is done, and that is going to be the only external opening through the container itself. All other openings will be in the wall that'll get placed right up here, 4 feet off of the entryway. There's going to be a front door and a 48 by 32 window there. If you can see the X's on the walls, those are my idea at the moment of where I'm going to be putting studs. I will be hanging a bed back here, a queen size bed. So I'm going to put a couple of extra studs, kind of as you can see, like these are doubled up, but I did go every other stud after that all the way down. And I may go ahead and add a stud wherever the plywood is gonna meet. So every 48 inches, I'll make sure that there is a stud, just so I have backing. I will be doing 3/4 inch birch ply for the walls. And then we will be doing 1/4 inch birch ply on the ceiling. So everything's going pretty good. I'll give you a quick look outside. This is the generator that I'm working with. Champion dual fuel. I think it's a 3500. I am running it on propane though. Trying to keep the gas from sitting in these things. So 3150 on propane. And that did run my welder, and it will be running my air compressor. I don't know if you could tell, but I am committed to the Ridgid line of tools. They are phenomenal, and of course, lifetime warranty on the batteries. We'll go around here and take a look at the back real quick. So I do have a little bit more caulking to do, but it's kind of in places that can wait a little bit. It's definitely not the prettiest thing. And as you can tell, where I did my welds, it burned through the paint. So I know I've got good penetration there, but I will have to come through, clean that off, and paint it. I found a paint that's relatively close to this, so hopefully that works out. But as you can tell, it's a little gooped up. That wasn't by design. One of the first tubicock wouldn't open up, and I squeezed it, and then it started oozing through the, like, on around the sides of where the nozzle tip is, and so I had to just cut the nozzle tip off and basically goop it on everything. So I just didn't want to waste a tube of caulk, and didn't really have time to deal with it. It was getting quite late. I wasn't sure if I was originally gonna cut the hole and maybe weld in the outside frame and then just cover up the window opening with some plastic. But we had a few good storms roll through over the last week, and I decided that I'd looked at the weather and decided that I'd rather not dirty up the inside of here and get my tools and everything wet. So I just made it happen. So yeah, we've got a window, and now the fun and exciting part, I think it's going to start looking more and more like progress. This was surprisingly a lot of work, cutting and then recutting and then grinding and then maybe cutting a little bit more. But I am very glad that that part of the project's done. Framing should be extremely easy compared to doing that window. I did have some helpers from Harbor Freight. So if you don't have people with you that can hold things up, I had originally tried those red triangles, and they're not meant for that. So I picked up some of these. I think these are the 150-pound capacity. And when I was marking lines and hanging it, I just put it up underneath it on 200 spots. I actually did it under here when I was making the marks, but put those on there and put the frame on it, and it held the frame perfectly. Those two alone kept the frame up, and I want to say those were maybe 10 bucks a piece. So definitely worth that if you're working by yourself and you know, you can't hold this thing up. I know making a template would have probably been a little bit easier, but it is what it is. So now we move on to framing, and then the exciting stuff of the outlets and light switches and everything else. So it is a beautiful day out here in East Texas. It's about 70, probably 72 degrees out here, and absolutely beautiful. So yeah, I will get back to you with updates whenever I get the framing going. Maybe I'll get a couple more shots of the actual process versus the window, kind of as it builds up. And my method on this, where I'm going to be putting on all of the spots that have a stud, they are going to be on the flat, and I'm going to run a 3/4 inch piece of foam insulation board behind it. And so that will keep all of the wood off of the container itself. And then that'll create an envelope where there's the foam, and I may just overlap it 1/2 inch or something and spray adhesive and stick it on there. And then when the board goes over it and they spray it in, it'll create a seamless envelope of foam. The foam will run up to the foam board. There'll be the foam board behind the stud, and then foam will continue to run to the next foam board. So that is the idea. I am doing everything, considering this is East Texas, we're near the Gulf. The humidity gets outrageous here. And so I'm trying to do everything I can, especially for the winters, when I've got the heat in here. It's still humid outside. It's still 50%, 60% humidity, but it's, you know, in the 30s or below. And then I turn the heaters on. My buddy heater over there, I get that fired up, and it is literally dripping water off the ceiling and the walls. And so I want to prevent that. I will be having a window unit in over here, and I will, even when I don't need it, I'll run it, close up the doors before I leave, and that'll give me the opportunity to dry out the air in here. And I'm gonna make this as sealed up as possible. I know some people recommend venting these behind the walls. That's not gonna happen. I am closing these off completely. I want a sealed envelope. There will be one opening that'll go outside that will be vented. It'll be above the door. I found online they make register vents, like register booster fans. It looks like it's just 2 PC fans. I think they're designed for 2-story homes or trailer homes, mobile homes that have the vents in the floor. You just lay them on there, plug them into the wall, and then they just give you, I think it's about 120 or 150 CFMs. And I'm gonna put one of those right above the door, and just so when I have this thing sealed up and I'm in it to circulate a little bit of fresh air, I can cut that fan on depending on the temperature, and then kind of watch the humidity and things like that. So, but yeah, that's where we're at. And y'all take it easy. God bless. And see you back on the next one.